The massive screens in Times Square showed the same news that was playing on every channel across Earth. Humans had finally done it. They had joined the Galactic Federation. After years of preparation and proving their worth, Earth had earned its place among the stars. Alex Reed stood in the crowd, watching the announcement with hundreds of others. At 25, he had already served as a combat medic and seen things that would make most people shake. Now he was about to face something even bigger. "This is only the beginning," the Federation ambassador said on screen. The alien's smooth, pale blue skin glowed under the camera lights. "Earth has proven itself ready to join the greater galactic community." What the ambassador didn't mention was the shock that had rippled through the Federation when they first studied Earth. Their scientists couldn't believe that intelligent life had evolved on such a deadly planet. Earth, with its natural disasters, extreme weather, and high gravity, was classified as a Class 12 Deathworld. 3 months after the announcement, Alex sat in his small apartment, reading the acceptance letter again. The Galactic Academy wanted him. Him, of all people. The exchange program would accept 20 humans from Earth, and he was one of them. The selection process had been tough. They needed people who could handle the stress of being the first humans to study at the Academy. Alex's background as a combat medic had helped. He knew how to stay calm under pressure and how to deal with strange situations. "Are you sure about this?" his mother had asked when he told her. "You'll be so far from home." Alex had just smiled. "Mom, I've dreamed about space since I was a kid. This is my chance." What Alex didn't know was that right then, far away on the Academy's home planet, a heated debate was taking place. "We cannot allow a Deathworlder into our halls." Professor Tal slammed his delicate hand on the table. His crystalline skin sparkled under the soft lights of the meeting room. "It's too dangerous." Dean Luminar, the head of the Academy, stayed calm. "The human passed all our tests. Their medical records show remarkable control over their strength. But they're from Earth," another teacher said. "A planet where water falls from the sky and burns the ground, where the very air can freeze solid, where massive waves can swallow cities." The dean held up a hand for silence. "And that is exactly why we need them. Think about what we can learn from a species that survived such conditions. Their medical knowledge alone could be priceless." The debate went on for hours. In the end, the dean won. The Academy would accept their first human students, but with special rules. They would be washed carefully and tested often. Back on Earth, Alex packed his bags. He included some things that seemed normal to him, but would amaze his alien classmates: a first aid kit, some energy bars, and a water filter. Basic survival gear, as far as he was concerned. The day before he left, Alex visited the Academy's Earth office for his final briefing. The alien officer looked at him with all 4 eyes. "Remember," the officer said, "you're not just a student. You're representing your whole species. The galaxy has never seen anything like humans before. Most worlds that can support life are peaceful places, soft places. Their people have never faced the challenges that Earth throws at its children every day." Alex nodded. "I understand, sir." "Do you? You're stronger than you look to them. Faster, more durable. What we call normal weather might kill them. Be careful." That night, Alex couldn't sleep. Tomorrow, he would board a ship that would take him to the stars. He would be one of the first humans to study alongside aliens, to learn their ways and share Earth's knowledge. As he looked out his window at the night sky, Alex smiled. Earth might be a death world to them, but to him, it was just home. And maybe, just maybe, being from a death world wasn't such a bad thing after all. The adventure was about to begin. The Galactic Academy took Alex's breath away. The building seemed to be made of crystal and light, stretching up into the purple sky of Luminara. The 3 suns overhead cast rainbow shadows through the transparent walls. As Alex stepped off the transport ship, he immediately felt the difference. Luminara's gravity was only about 60% of Earth's. Each step made him feel like he might float away. The other human students around him were having the same experience, some of them bouncing a bit too high with each step. "Please watch your movements carefully," their guide said. The alien looked like a tall, elegant deer with silvery skin that sparkled in the sunlight. "Your species is used to much higher gravity. We don't want any accidents." Alex nodded, trying to walk as gently as possible. It wasn't easy. He felt like a bull in a china shop, especially when he saw how gracefully the other alien students moved around them. The air was different too. It felt thin to him, though the Academy had assured them it was safe to breathe. Alex's Earth-evolved lungs were so efficient that he was actually getting more oxygen than he needed. The doctors had warned him he might feel a bit lightheaded at first. "This is the main hall," their guide announced, leading them into a vast room with a ceiling that seemed to disappear into the sky. "Your fellow students from across the galaxy are already here." Hundreds of alien eyes turned to look at the humans. Alex could feel the mixture of curiosity and fear in their gazes. He heard whispers in various languages, his translator working overtime to keep up. "They're so dense. Look at their thick bones. I heard they can survive in temperatures that would freeze us solid." A small group of students backed away as Alex walked past. He tried to smile, but that only seemed to make them more nervous. One of them, a floating creature that looked like a jellyfish made of light, actually changed color from blue to pale white. The first challenge came in the laboratory class. Alex was paired with a student named Beam, who looked like a living beam of light in roughly humanoid shape. They were working with some extremely delicate equipment designed to measure quantum fluctuations. "Just touch it very, very lightly," Beam said, their voice sounding like wind chimes in Alex's translator. Alex tried. He really did. But his fingers, strong enough to bend steel by alien standards, pressed just a tiny bit too hard. The crystal instrument cracked slightly under his touch. "I'm so sorry," Alex said quickly, pulling his hands back. But instead of being angry, Beam was staring at him with fascination. "Amazing. The safety protocol said that material could withstand extreme pressure. How strong are you?" Before Alex could answer, he noticed a commotion across the room. Another human student had accidentally knocked over a container of what looked like glowing liquid. The alien students gasped in horror. "Don't touch it," someone shouted. "It's corrosive." But the human student had already picked up the container, the glowing liquid splashing on their hands. They quickly set it right and wiped their hands on their pants. "It's okay," they said, looking confused at everyone's panic. "It just tingles a bit." The room fell silent. The liquid that aliens considered dangerously corrosive was barely an irritant to human skin. Alex could see the alien students and teachers exchanging meaningful looks. Later that day, in the dining hall, Alex discovered another difference. The food provided for most species would barely count as a snack for humans. Their higher metabolism and energy needs meant they had special meals prepared. "You eat all of this?" asked Beam, watching in fascination as Alex worked through his large portion. "In one sitting." "Well, yeah," Alex said. "I actually eat more than this back home." As the day went on, more differences became apparent. The humans had to be careful opening doors designed for species with much less strength. They had to watch their step to avoid accidentally jumping too high in the low gravity. Even their laughter was louder than most species were used to. But slowly, very slowly, fear began to turn into curiosity. By the end of the first day, a few brave alien students had started asking questions. They wanted to know about Earth, about how humans lived on such a dangerous world. As Alex lay in his bed that night, adjusting to the strange feel of the low gravity, he smiled. Maybe being different wasn't so bad after all. They weren't just learning about aliens. The aliens were learning about them too. 2 weeks into the semester, the Academy announced the start of physical education classes. Alex had been wondering when these would begin. So far, most classes had focused on theory and lab work. "Today, we test environmental adaptability," announced the instructor, Professor Glow. The teacher's body pulsed with soft light as they spoke. Each species has different strengths. We will explore them all. The testing chamber was a massive room that could change its environment in seconds. Alex stood with his fellow students, watching as the air itself seemed to shimmer around them. First test, atmospheric variation, Professor Glow said. The chamber will cycle through different air mixtures. Stay in as long as you can handle it. Exit if you feel uncomfortable. The air began to change. First, it became thicker, heavier with different gases. Most alien students stepped out within minutes, their bodies not designed for the changing atmosphere. But Alex and the other humans stayed. Remarkable. Professor Glow noted. The humans show no signs of distress. Earth's atmosphere has changed a lot over millions of years, Alex explained, his voice steady despite the thick air. Our bodies evolved to handle different mixtures. Next came the temperature trials. The chamber grew cold, then hot, then cold again. Alien students were amazed as the humans handled temperature swings that would have killed most species. How are you not freezing? Beam asked, watching Alex stand comfortably in what felt like Arctic conditions to the others. This is like winter back home, Alex said. Some parts of Earth get much colder. The most impressive moment came during the gravity tests. The chamber could simulate different gravitational pulls. When they increased it to Earth normal levels, most alien students couldn't even stand up. This is what you live in, gasped a plant-like student, struggling to move under Earth gravity. Actually, Alex said, moving normally, some parts of Earth have even stronger gravity due to geographical variations. Professor Glow's light patterns showed clear amazement. And you can function in these conditions, perform complex tasks. We play sports in it, another human student added cheerfully. The final test was endurance. The chamber created an obstacle course with various challenges. The alien students were graceful and quick in their natural conditions, but they tired easily. The humans, however, just kept going. How long can you maintain this level of activity? Professor Glow asked after 30 minutes. Alex, barely breathing hard, shrugged. Hours, if we need to. Humans are persistence hunters. We evolved to keep going for a long time. The whole class watched in silence as Alex demonstrated a light jog, something he could maintain for hours. To them, it looked like an incredible feat of endurance. During the water survival test, they learned another surprising fact about humans. The chamber created a deep pool, and while most species could swim, none could match the human's ability to handle rough water. Your species voluntarily goes into large bodies of water. For fun, asked a shocked student when Alex mentioned surfing. Sure, we even dive deep underwater to explore, Alex said. The other students looked at him like he was describing something impossible. By the end of the physical trials, the Academy's medical staff had filled several data chips with information about human capabilities. They were particularly interested in how humans could keep functioning under conditions that would incapacitate other species. Your endurance, temperature tolerance, and atmospheric adaptability are unprecedented, the head doctor told Alex. We've never seen a species that can handle so many extreme conditions. That evening, Alex found more students willing to sit near him in the dining hall. Their fear was being replaced by respect and curiosity. Would you tell us more about Earth? Asked a small, glowing student. What's it like to live on a world that's always trying to kill you? Alex smiled. Earth isn't trying to kill us, he said. It made us strong. Everything that seems harsh to you helped shape humans into what we are. We don't just survive on our world. We love it. As he looked around at the interested faces, Alex realized something important. The very things that had made Earth seem terrible to the galaxy were the things that made humans special. Their harsh world hadn't been a curse. It had been a gift. After proving their physical capabilities, the humans faced a different kind of challenge. Academics. Alex sat in advanced galactic mathematics, staring at symbols that seemed to dance across his screen. While his Earth education had prepared him well, Some concepts were completely new. "Don't worry too much," Beam said, noticing Alex's confused expression. "This is 11-dimensional math. Most species struggle with it at first." Alex rubbed his eyes. "Back on Earth, we usually stop at 4 dimensions. This is like learning to swim by being thrown into the ocean." But then something interesting happened. While Alex struggled with the pure theory, he noticed he could solve practical problems faster than most of his classmates. During the emergency response simulation, he found solutions that surprised even the teachers. "How did you know to combine the power systems that way?" Professor Tal asked after Alex successfully prevented a simulated reactor meltdown. "On Earth, we have to improvise a lot," Alex explained. "When things go wrong, we can't always follow the manual. We have to try new things." This pattern repeated in other classes. The humans might not memorize complex theories as quickly as some species, but they excelled at finding unexpected solutions. Their brains, evolved to survive on a dangerous world, were exceptionally good at spotting patterns and adapting to new situations. In the medical laboratory, Alex's background as a combat medic proved invaluable. The class was studying emergency treatment for different species when the teacher presented them with a complex case. "The patient has 3 hearts, crystalline skin, and is suffering from radiation exposure," the teacher explained. "What do you do?" While other students carefully consulted their textbooks, Alex was already moving. His hands, which usually had to be so careful in this low-gravity world, moved with surprising grace as he demonstrated the treatment. "In combat medicine, we don't always have time to check the books," he explained. "You have to understand the principles and adapt them quickly. Every situation is different." The teacher's multiple eyes widened. That's exactly right. But you used a completely different method than what's in the textbook." "Sometimes the direct route isn't the best one," Alex said. "On Earth, we learned it the hard way." Word spread through the academy. Soon, students from various species were asking Alex and the other humans for help with practical problems. The humans' unique way of thinking, shaped by their harsh world, offered new perspectives. During one study session, Alex helped a group of students with their survival training course. The scenario involved being stranded on an unknown planet. "Why do you keep suggesting we look for high ground?" asked a floating student. "High ground gives you 3 things," Alex explained. "A better view of your surroundings, potential shelter, and usually safer drinking water. On Earth, these lessons kept our ancestors alive." The other students were fascinated. Their own ancestral worlds had been much more forgiving. The idea of evolving on a planet where such knowledge meant the difference between life and death was both frightening and impressive. Even the Academy scientists became interested in human learning patterns. They noticed that humans had an unusual ability to learn from mistakes. While other species typically avoided actions that had failed once, humans would try again and again, making small adjustments each time. "Your species actually seems to enjoy solving difficult problems," one researcher noted, watching Alex tackle a particularly challenging engineering puzzle. "We call it figuring it out," Alex said with a smile. "It's how we got from caves to spaceships in a relatively short time." By the end of the term, the Academy had to revise some of its teaching methods. The human approach to problem solving was proving valuable for everyone. Their habit of questioning established procedures and finding new solutions was changing how the school thought about education. Perhaps, Dean Luminar said during a faculty meeting, "We needed these Deathworlders more than we knew. They don't just survive challenges, they learn from them. And now, they're teaching us to do the same." The day started like any other at the Galactic Academy. Alex was in the advanced medical lab, working on a project with Beam and 2 other students. The artificial suns of Luminara cast their usual rainbow light through the crystal walls. Then everything went wrong. The first sign was a slight tremor that ran through the building. Most students barely noticed it, but Alex's Earth-trained instincts immediately sensed something off. "That shouldn't happen," he said, standing up. "This building doesn't shake." Before anyone could respond, The environmental alarms started blaring. The sound was painful, designed to be heard by all species. Red warning lights flashed across the walls. "Environmental system failure detected," announced the Academy's eye. "Primary and secondary life support systems compromised. Atmospheric containment failing." Alex watched in horror as his alien classmates began to struggle. The carefully maintained environment that kept hundreds of different species comfortable was breaking down. Temperature rising, the AI continued. Gravity fluctuating. Atmospheric composition becoming unstable. For most species in the Academy, these conditions were lethal. Alex saw students collapsing around him as the gravity increased to near-Earth levels. Others were gasping as the air became thicker, closer to Earth's atmosphere. "Everyone stay calm," Alex shouted, his combat medic training kicking in. "Those who can move, help others to the emergency shelters." But the emergency shelters were several levels down. With the gravity increased, most aliens couldn't even stand, let alone walk that far. Alex's mind raced. The environment was becoming more Earth-like by the minute. Dangerous for most species, but perfect for humans. "Beam," he called to his friend, who was flickering dimly. "Can you still transmit?" The light being pulsed weakly. "Barely." "Contact the other humans. Tell them to get to the nearest emergency supply stations. We need the environmental suits stored there." While Beam sent the message, Alex began moving through the lab, lifting fallen students into more comfortable positions. His strength, usually a concern in the Academy, was now saving lives. The other humans arrived quickly, each carrying environmental suits. They worked together, getting suits onto the most vulnerable students first. "The main environmental control room is 5 levels up," one of the Academy staff gasped through a suit. "But in this gravity." "We'll go," Alex said, looking at his fellow humans. "We can handle these conditions." The journey to the control room was like walking through a disaster zone. The increased gravity had caused some structures to crack. The air was thick with particles that would be toxic to most alien species. For the humans, it felt like a bad day in a big city back on Earth. "The backup systems are failing too," another human student, a former engineer, said as they reached the control room. "Someone or something damaged them deliberately." Alex looked at the complex alien controls. "Can we fix it?" "Maybe," the engineer said. "But we need to reroute power from somewhere else. The main crystals are cracked." Alex remembered his earlier classes, how humans approached problems differently. "We don't need to fix it the right way," he said. "We just need to fix it some way." Working together, the humans began improvising. They rerouted power from non-essential systems, used their strength to manually adjust machinery that usually operated automatically, and relied on their Earth-evolved endurance to keep working in the harsh conditions. After what felt like hours, the systems began to stabilize. The gravity slowly returned to normal. The air cleared. Temperature regulators came back online. Throughout the crisis, humans carried injured aliens to safety, maintained emergency equipment, and kept working while others could barely move. Their Deathworld adaptations, which had once made others fear them, had become the Academy's salvation. When it was finally over, Alex sat exhausted in the medical bay, watching the medical staff treat the last of the affected students. Dean Luminar approached him slowly. "We've never had a crisis like this," the dean said. "Without your species' abilities, we would have lost many lives today." Alex nodded tiredly. "On Earth, we have a saying. The worst times bring out the best in us. We're used to things going wrong. It's made us good at making them right again." News of the crisis at the Galactic Academy spread quickly across the Federation. Every major news channel showed images of humans carrying alien students to safety, working in conditions that would kill most species, and fixing systems that weren't designed for their hands. A week after the crisis, Alex sat in the Academy's Grand Hall. The room was packed with students, teachers, and reporters from across the galaxy. The dean had called for a special assembly. "What we learned during the crisis," Dean Luminar announced, has changed our understanding of Deathworld species forever. The Dean's words echoed through the hall. Alex noticed how different things were now. Alien students no longer moved away when humans walked past. Instead, they moved closer, looking at them with new respect. Our investigation showed that without human intervention, we would have lost over 60% of our student body, the Dean continued. Their ability to function in conditions we consider lethal saved countless lives. Beam, now fully recovered, floated next to Alex. You know, the light being said, when you first arrived, we thought your world had made you dangerous. We were right, but not in the way we thought. Alex smiled. How do you mean? You're dangerous not because you might hurt us, but because you can survive things that would hurt us. You're like living shield walls. The Academy's medical department presented their findings next. They had studied how humans performed during the crisis, and their conclusions amazed the audience. Humans operated at full capacity in conditions that would incapacitate most known species, the head doctor explained. Their physical endurance, combined with their unique problem-solving abilities, made them perfect crisis responders. More surprising was the psychological report. While most species would be traumatized by such dangerous conditions, the humans had remained calm and focused. It appears, the psychologist said, that humans are actually at their best during emergencies. Their stress response enhances their performance instead of degrading it. After the assembly, Alex found himself surrounded by alien students. Their questions had changed from fearful inquiries about Earth's dangers to eager requests for knowledge. Could you teach us how you handle emergencies? One asked. What other survival skills do humans have? Another wondered. The Academy's administration made a historic decision that day. They would establish a new department focused on Deathworld studies, with humans as primary instructors. We need to learn from you, Dean Luminar told Alex privately. For too long, we saw Deathworld evolution as a disadvantage. We were wrong. It created something remarkable. Alex was asked to help design new emergency protocols for the Academy. His experience as both a combat medic and a Deathworld species offered unique insights. The key, he explained to the safety committee, is to plan for things to go wrong. On Earth, we have a saying, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. The Federation's Education Board took notice. Other academic institutions began requesting human students and teachers. Earth's harsh environment, they realized, had created not just survivors, but protectors. Your species fills a gap we didn't know we had, Professor Tal admitted to Alex. We've built a civilization of incredible technological advancement, but we never learned to handle crisis the way you have. The Academy's application system changed too. Being from a Deathworld was no longer marked as a warning sign. Instead, it became a valuable trait, indicating potential for both physical capability and creative problem-solving. One evening, as Alex walked through the Academy's halls, he passed the memorial wall where they had listed everyone who helped during the crisis. Among the names, someone had added a quote from Earth, "The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fires." We understand now, Dean Luminar said, finding Alex looking at the wall. Earth isn't just a death world. It's a training ground. And its children aren't just survivors. They're guardians. 1 year had passed since Alex first arrived at the Galactic Academy. Now he stood on the same landing platform where his journey began. But this time he wasn't a nervous newcomer. He was there to welcome the next group of human students. The transport ship descended from Luminara's purple sky, its engines humming softly. Alex smiled as he remembered his own arrival, how alien everything had seemed. Now the Academy felt like a second home. Hard to believe it's been a year, Beam said, floating beside him. The light being had become his closest friend at the Academy. You humans have changed everything. Alex watched as the ship's doors opened. 20 new human students stepped out, their eyes wide with wonder as they took in the crystal spires and rainbow light of the Academy. Welcome to the Galactic Academy, Dean Luminar announced. their voice warm and welcoming. "You are not just students here. You are pioneers." The new arrivals looked around nervously, just as Alex's group had done. But this time, something was different. Instead of backing away, alien students moved forward to greet them. Some even offered to help carry their bags. "The Department of Deathworld Studies is ready for you," the dean continued. "And your predecessors have left quite a legacy to live up to." Alex had helped design the new department's curriculum. It combined traditional academy subjects with special courses that took advantage of human abilities. The academy had even built a new training facility that could simulate Earth-like conditions. "Your species has taught us something valuable," Professor Tal said, addressing the group. "Strength isn't just about physical power. It's about adapting, surviving, and helping others do the same." The professor was right. In the past year, the academy had changed its whole approach to education. Every species now took basic survival training. Emergency protocols had been completely rewritten. Even the architecture was changing, with new buildings designed to withstand harsher conditions. Later that day, Alex led the new students on a tour. They stopped at the Crisis Memorial, which had become one of the Academy's most important monuments. "This is where everything changed," he explained, "where the galaxy learned that being from a death world isn't a curse, it's a gift." One of the new students raised her hand. "I heard they're starting to look for other death world species now. Is that true?" Alex nodded. "The Federation realized we can't be the only ones. There must be other species out there who evolved on harsh worlds. They're already planning expeditions to find them." The Academy had become a beacon of change. Other educational institutions across the galaxy were following its lead, actively seeking out students from challenging environments. They had learned that diversity of experience made them stronger. "You know what the best part is," Beam said as they finished the tour. "Nobody flinches when humans walk past anymore. Now they move closer, like they feel safer with you around." It was true. The fear had been replaced by trust and respect. Humans were now seen as protectors, not threats. Their strength had become a source of comfort for other species. In the evening, Alex attended a special ceremony. The Academy was officially opening its Emergency Response Center, a new facility dedicated to crisis management and survival training. 1 year ago, Dean Luminar said in their speech, "We thought accepting Deathworld students was a risk. Now we understand it was the beginning of a new era. Earth's children have shown us that the challenges that make us stronger also teach us to help others." As Alex looked around the ceremony hall, he saw humans and aliens working together, learning from each other. The barriers between species were breaking down. The galaxy was changing, becoming more resilient, more adaptable. "You've started something remarkable," the dean told him privately. "This is just the beginning. Who knows what other lessons Deathworlders will teach us?" Alex smiled, thinking of Earth with its storms and earthquakes, its changing seasons and challenging environments. All those things that had made other species fear his homeworld had actually prepared humanity for this moment. "The universe is full of surprises," he said, "and now we're ready for them, together."